Frozen in fear. Have you ever been so scared? I mean, terrified, where you can't move, you can't speak, you're almost afraid not to breathe, because something's got you terrified. Well, when I was about 10 or 11 years old, I was at a friend's house, my family and I. They were friends of my mother and father's, Bill and Lynn, and they had a daughter, Tammy, and a son, Billy. They were friends of ours. We went up their home all the time in Brockton, Massachusetts. They lived near the woods. The woods were up behind their home. And it had to be summertime because we had gotten out of the pool and, went in the house, dried off, put on dry clothes. And we went next door to Tammy and Billy's friends' neighbors, Johnny and Frankie. Well, Frankie and Johnny. They had a picnic table out in back of their yard where the woods was. And we all was sitting at the picnic table, just, relaxing. Because it was getting late and we all probably would have had to go in soon, nighttime coming and all. And as we were talking, we heard something crunching through the leaves in the woods. And it kept getting louder, like it was approaching us. We all stopped and listened and looked. I don't know what we were expecting to see, but it just sounded like footsteps, and they kept coming closer and closer until they stopped. And it was at that point we were all frozen in fear. We didn't breathe, we didn't move, we didn't talk. We just kept looking at the woods where we heard the sound coming from. Now, it being the woods, you would think it was an animal or something. And that's, I guess, basically what we were looking for. But we didn't see anything. And normally, animals will either grunt or make some kind of noise. There was no noise. Which made it even worse now, because if it wasn't an animal, what was out there, and was it watching us? And if so, why? We, at this point, were just frozen in fear. We were terrified. We couldn't do anything. If we moved, we were afraid it was going to get us. And I was like a 10, 11 years old, and none of us was brave enough to go take a look in the woods. We were kids. So we all just sat there and listened and looked. There were no more footsteps, but we still didn't move. Then, thankfully, Frankie and Johnny's mom and dad came home, and as their car pulled into the driveway, we took off like a shot from that picnic table. We started running towards the car. We was screaming, and nothing was chasing us. Nothing came after us. So we told them, we told our parents, and all the parents went out to the woods area where we were looking, where we were near the picnic table, and nothing was there. And of course, looking out in the woods, trying to see if there was maybe an animal or even someone, running. There was nothing. We felt better. The parents, they were brave enough to check it out. We weren't. But I never forgot that. That was the first moment of my life where I was literally frozen in fear. Normally, when you have a bad nightmare in your bedroom at night, you can wake up frozen in terror from that nightmare. But to be awake and frozen in fear, wow. that was a new experience for me, and it was something I never forgot. The thing that made it worse, though, a few months later, I think it was winter time because there wasn't even any snow on the ground, but the leaves were on the ground, and we were told how a young boy in the woods behind their home, somewhere in the neighborhood nearby those woods, way in the back, a young boy went missing. And all us kids can think about was that day in the picnic table when we heard the crunching of the leaves and everything, thinking to ourselves, was he taken by someone or something? Now, I don't believe in monsters, but still, after what we experienced, do you blame us for thinking something got this kid? To this day, I don't know if they ever found that young boy. So it sticks in your head. I'm in my 50s. But I still remember that day just like it was yesterday.